I'd like to thank Saramonic for sponsoring a portion of this video. You might be the kind of person to bring everything you can to capture your trip the best way possible. Or maybe you're a minimalist and you only want to bring one thing, maybe even just your iPhone. For me, I was trying to figure out what I should do. Should I bring more lenses, a gimbal, multiple tripods, or should I just be happy with one camera and one lens? Am I gonna bring everything or am I gonna be a minimalist? That's what I was struggling with for this Japan trip I had coming up. Or rather, I should say it's already passed. But what I was struggling with leading up to it was, what gear am I gonna bring to capture the things I want to capture while still being able to enjoy the trip itself? To provide some context, I've been to Japan before. I went to Tokyo, Kyoto, Fukuoka, and Nara. And that was across 10 days. So I've done the whole capture everything as cinematically as possible thing before. This time round, we were just going to Tokyo, and it was my wife's first time there. So I definitely wanted to just be able to enjoy being there, enjoy the little moments, capture the things that caught my eye, and have fun both with friends and family, as well as photographing and filming all the things I wanted to, because that is how I have fun. I like content creating. It's fun for me, capturing the still moments, things like that. So to do that effectively, I knew I had to bring a decent level of equipment that would allow me to capture the things I wanted to in the way I wanted to, but also not so much equipment that it would either get in the way or slow me down from actually being able to enjoy those experiences. And let's be honest, when you're on holiday, you are really focused on just having fun, eating a lot of really good food, especially in Japan. I ate a lot, yeah. And you know, being present, I think, is so important. But in this video, I want to go over everything I brought with me to film and photograph Tokyo for the 7 days that I was there for. If you've watched any of my past videos, you might know the camera that I brought. And if you don't, that's alright, but you should definitely hit the subscribe button just below so you can be notified of future videos. I make tons of filmmaking and photography content, a lot around the L-mount and Lumix cameras, but I'm definitely exploring other brands soon as well. So if you hadn't guessed, I brought the Lumix S9 with me. This camera was literally marketed for travel content creation amongst all the other things it's marketed for, and yeah, I can confidently say it is perfect at this. It's a very capable, tiny full-frame camera. It can shoot 6K open gate, which gave me an interesting aspect ratio to play with for shooting in Japan, and it has a 24 megapixel sensor, so my photos were nice and sharp. Where things got a bit more tricky for me was the lenses. The funny thing is, right, I ended up buying the Lumix 24-60 f2.8. I bought it the day before we went to mt.Fuji, which, well, we didn't get to see Fuji, unfortunately, but that lens is fantastic. Or sorry, I should say this lens. I have been using it non-stop for all of my filmmaking and YouTube and photography because it's a really good lens. And honestly, if I had had this lens before going to Tokyo, I would have only brought this lens. Its versatility and f2.8 aperture, whilst it's not like an f1.8 like with the smaller Lumix S-line primes, 2.8 is definitely shallow enough and low enough for low light videography and photography, but also the versatility is just so useful for travel videography and photography when things are on the go, fast-paced, you're always moving around. Being able to zoom in and have a constant aperture whilst doing it makes all the difference. But I didn't have it yet. So let's backtrack a bit to what I did have and what I did bring with me before flying to Tokyo. My go-to vlogging and wide-angle lens has always been the Lumix 18mm f1.8. This tiny prime from Lumix is great. It's lightweight, small, easy to take with you wherever you travel to, and it's been my go-to vlogging lens because of all of those things. That lens was a no-brainer to bring. What was difficult for me was the next lens I was gonna bring. Was I gonna bring my 35-150 from Samyang for that large versatility in zoom range and a pretty decent variable aperture? I mean, f2 to f2.8 isn't too bad. The way I see the lens, it's basically an f2.8 for the whole range. Or do I bring the kit lens 20-60 f3.5 all the way to 5.6? Now, if you know me at all from any of my past videos, you may have heard me say how much I dislike variable aperture zoom lenses. And if you don't know why specifically, I will get to that later on in the video. But yeah, I really don't like them. However, I only had those two choices for a zoom lens, and the reason I wanted to bring a zoom lens was for versatility. Being able to zoom in and out at an instant and be able to capture a shot versus not being able to capture a shot makes all the difference when it comes to travel videography and photography. Really, I just felt like I needed a zoom. So I brought the 20-60, but as we know, that didn't last long, and eventually I bought the 24-60 after like 3 days. With the most difficult part out of the way, everything else was pretty straightforward. I of course brought an ND filter for the sunny days in Japan. Right now I'm using the Freewell V2 magnetic variable ND filter system. The next thing to consider was stabilization. I knew from the beginning I didn't need to bring a gimbal. For one, it's a whole thing to faff around with and set up and balance, and then I have to pack it away, and then it adds weight to the camera bag that I'm using. It was nonsensical. I don't think I needed to bring it. Plus, let's be honest, Lumix cameras have the best IBIS in the game. And with that, I felt like if I really wanted to get a gimbal type shot, I could do it with my camera and just some very careful ninja walking. So that was what I did a few times. But really, I also wanted to focus on getting some static shots this time and just letting the shot breathe and play out. So to do that, I needed a tripod. And I actually ended up bringing two, but honestly, I wish I only brought one of them, and I'll tell you why later on in the video. So the first tripod I brought was the Ulanzi JJ05 video tripod. This carbon fiber tripod was perfect. It's lightweight, it's super versatile, and with the latch system it has on the legs, it's easy to set up and break back down in like a few seconds, which was essential for travel filmmaking and photography because I didn't want to have to faff around again with a tripod. I wanted something that I could break down really quickly when I was done shooting. And thankfully this tripod fits that request perfectly. I was able to go around the streets and use it as like a monopod by just having one leg extended, or if I wanted to get a tripod shot and like I had the space, or we weren't in a rush, I was able to do that too, and it was great. It worked exactly how I wanted it and allowed me to get the kind of shots that you've been seeing throughout this video. Now the second tripod I brought is the PGY-Tech Mantis Pod. This tiny tripod is great for vlogging and also for situations where a larger tripod either isn't usable or it's just not appropriate. Now there's a hidden fourth leg within the PGY-Tech Mantis Pod, and this allows you to mount your camera onto things that are higher up, like fences or benches and things like that, walls and whatever. If there's like a hookable surface or point, you can attach your camera to it. And this allows you to get higher up shots like you do with a larger tripod, but you're using a smaller tripod and it's more out of the way. And obviously for vlogging, it helps to extend your arm out a lot more and give you a bit more of a wider shot, which is great, especially for a 24mm lens. Having a bit more width in the shot, it gets it a bit closer to what the 18 would look like. But then what made this pair of tripods even better is they both use the Arca Swiss plate. Now this is a great system to be a part of because there's so many different accessories that use the Arca Swiss plate. But like I said, there was a problem, so we'll get there. Now something I ended up buying about a week before the trip is this new film camera from Kyocera. Okay, it's new to me, it's not a new camera, but it's a fully automatic 35mm film camera. And the reason I was excited was because I was actually already planning to bring a film camera. It was this Ektar H35N. This is a half frame 35mm camera, and I was going to use it because it's a half frame, so you get double the amount of exposures per roll of film, so you're saving money. But I saw a video from Gakuyen, I believe, about this camera, and honestly, I'm very glad I got it. Looking back at the photos, they came out so good, and it being fully automatic as well, it loads the film up for you. It then reels it back up when the roll is finished. Everything was automatic. It was super handy to have this camera with me. And I think with that, we need to get onto the actual bag I use to hold all of the gear that I've been talking about. You see, normally I'd sit down and do a point, but that thing is all wet. But what isn't all wet, see what I did there, is the SAC Nomad over-the-shoulder camera sling bag. This camera bag, it's pretty damn great. It's waterproof, hence my hilarious and opening line. It has these magnetic clamps that allow you to lock the zips up so that they're more secure and everything. Okay, on this, right, I'm gonna cover this real quick. I have been heavily using this bag. I used it all across Japan and it's great. Yeah, it's a very good sling bag. I, however, have gotten very tired of this clamp because It's very easy to have it fall apart, and then, oh no, the one strap that is keeping the whole bag and all of your gear inside has fallen off you. I don't love this. I wish there was a second locking mechanism because it really doesn't take much pressure to have this fall apart. And I don't know, it's high quality material. The magnets are strong. When they're connected, I'm trying here. I'm yanking it. It's, I've taken this on many motorbikes across Bangkok, going to the gym, going out to shoot and stuff, and it's solid, it's fine. But there are moments when you're like adjusting yourself, maybe you're swapping shoulders, and the slightest touch here has this fall apart. And that happened to me like 4 times in a row one day in Tokyo, and it just honestly really, really annoyed me. So take it with a pinch of salt. Otherwise, the bag's actually perfect. Like, I have 0 complaints apart from this strap clip right here. But the bag itself, very high quality, great materials, anti-scratch, waterproof material. It's like a nylon, what was it called? Anti-tear nylon, they said. And it's got tons of storage for all of the gear that I'm talking about. And it's got a tripod holder on the bottom, which is freaking amazing. Now, audio is arguably the most important thing when it comes to travel filmmaking, or just filmmaking in general. You can have an amazing looking video, but with crap audio, no one's gonna watch it. And that's why I've been using this lavalier system from the sponsor of this segment of the video, Saramonic. This lavalier system comes with 2 transmitters and 1 receiver in this really premium feeling metal and glass case. It even shows you the battery charge as a percentage, so you know exactly how much charge your gear is at. It's all easily rechargeable thanks to the USB-C port on the back as well. You can record for up to 10 hours, so you're more than covered for shoots, and of course in between takes you can always throw the system back into the charging case to top up the battery. The audio quality itself, well, I'll let you be the judge of that. The entirety of this video I've been using the Saramonic Air. The Saramonic Air can record 24-bit high quality audio wirelessly straight into your camera. And if you're one of those cool kids using a Sony camera, well, you can actually also use the hot shoe adapter, which plugs straight into the Sony hot shoe, allowing you to skip using a cable like I still have to with my Lumix cameras, and have completely wireless audio going straight into your video clips without plugging a cable into your camera from the receiver. Very, very cool feature, and I do hope this is something that Lumix pick up down the line. Now I have to admit, I was a little concerned because this microphone doesn't have 32-bit flow, and I know to some people that can be a key feature that they really, really want in a microphone. But I'm very happy with how well this microphone can handle loud noises. And if I'm being honest, I'm not screaming into my microphones a lot of the time, so I don't know how often you might be doing that, but I respect there may be situations that are quite loud that you may need to film in. And thankfully, there are some amazing things to help keep the audio sounding incredible even in really loud environments. For one, the Saramonic Air can comfortably handle loud noises because it has a max SPL of 120 decibels. And I had to look this up to understand what this meant, but that's basically the maximum sound pressure that a microphone can handle before it starts to crackle and the audio starts to break. 120 decibels, that's basically like a little bit louder than a concert or a festival, so you're basically good unless you're gonna stand next to a jet engine. I'm not really worried about this, but on top of this, there's actually some really smart features to help protect your audio and make sure you get the high quality, great sounding audio that you need. First off, we have a safety track. This means that in case one of your channels does peak because maybe you set your channel levels wrong, or maybe you are standing next to a fighter jet, you have a safety track that is much lower than the other track, which means that your audio levels are protected and you at least have one usable channel that you can then duplicate and have great sounding audio. And 2, there's also a limiter, so no matter what, you protect the higher end of your audio from peaking and you will still have great sounding audio. On top of this, something I find very useful, especially for the busy streets of Bangkok, is the built-in noise cancellation. Now there are 2 levels that we're going to test out. This is the first level of noise cancellation, and this is the strongest version. Now, I'm not in the busiest place I could be. I don't want to overwhelm the microphone too much, but there's a lot happening around me. We've got the whirring of different air conditioning units, people walking around, there's cars and motorbikes going past me in the background, and a dude whistling away to guide them. So there's a lot happening, but you can still hear me very clearly. One, because lavaliers are just great for giving you good quality audio even when there's noise around your subject because it's so close to me. And two, the noise cancellation is working very, very well. Now let's try out the second level of noise cancellation, which is a little bit weaker because maybe you don't need as strong of a noise cancellation, or you don't like how processed your audio might be sounding with this much noise cancellation on. Now this is the second level of noise cancellation, and this is the weaker version, perhaps one that some people might use a bit more because it applies some noise cancellation and you can still hear me very clearly compared to all the noise that's happening around from what was playing earlier in the clip. But lavalier mics are great, I find, for isolating your subject's voice as much as possible. It'll be a lot better to have this than to have a shotgun microphone on top of the camera anyway, but this noise cancellation helps a lot. The global version of the Saramonic Air retails for $159 US. If you're getting the US version, it's $169. And if you're interested in learning more about that microphone, you can learn more about it with that first link in the description below, just below that like button. And thank you to Saramonic for sponsoring this segment of the video. I think one of the more important aspects about all this gear we're talking about is what it's like to actually use it. Because specs aside, and I get it, those are important, how you feel using a piece of gear can often be so much more important than does it have an f1.2 aperture? Can the camera do 12-bit video raw or ProRes or whatever? And you know, I'm aware that the Lumix S9 is limited in some regards. I don't think it is personally, but for some people it's not enough, and that's fair. But for what I was doing and how I wanted to go about capturing content whilst I was abroad, the Lumix S9 was perfect. It was small, it was easy to take in and out of my bag. I was able to bring it more places because it's smaller and more inconspicuous. And I was able to just capture the moment because I always had it in my hand. A larger camera, I'd argue you'd want to put away a little bit more. I might be wrong. You might be the person who, no matter the size of the camera, you'll always have it in your hand. And I can respect that. I could actually see myself being that person too, because perhaps capturing everything is just so important. But that was the thing. This time round in Tokyo, I wanted to also be able to just look around and experience things with my eyes, you know, the best lenses I have. Is that true? I can't zoom in with my eyes. But I also then enjoyed using the rest of the gear I had. The Kyocera film camera, I had that thing out constantly. I went through 3.5 rolls of film, and then using the tripods, I mean, the Ulanzi tripod is genuinely so easy to set up and break down. All of the gear I've mentioned in this video, by the way, there will be affiliate links in the description below. By the way, affiliate links, I get some kickbacks, so I do thank y'all for that. But yeah, if you're interested in what gear I use, everything is mentioned below. Now, speaking of tripods, let's touch on the problem I had with the two that I brought and which one I actually wish I never brought in the first place. It's the PGY-Tech Mantis Pod. Now, I've praised this little tripod in the past, and yeah, it is a really good product. I do actually like it. But the reason I wish I never brought it was because it failed me in a very crucial way. Earlier, I mentioned how they both use the Arca Swiss type plate. And this means you can go from one tripod to the other, and it's really, really quick and simple. The problem is, there's clearly some discrepancies between the sizing of the Arca Swiss plate that PGY-Tech makes and that Ulanzi makes. And the Ulanzi one is just a little bit smaller than the PGY-Tech one. And you can probably see where this is going. I had my S9 with a shotgun microphone attached to the PGY-Tech Mantis Pod, and I of course had the plate for the Ulanzi tripod on the camera because that is the one I was using more often, so to me it made more sense to use this plate. And I had tested it out beforehand and, you know, it was secure, which is why it was such a shock to me when my S9 fell off and slammed onto the floor. Not great. Honestly, I was pretty pissed off. Thankfully, my S9 is completely fine, and the lens I had attached was also fine. I think it was the kit lens anyway, so whatever. But the ND filter also definitely helped to protect the lens. The microphone I had on got damaged, which is not great, but it still works. It's just cosmetic damage, which it's whatever. I don't know who to blame here. I mean, surely there's like a template for the right dimensions and all of that to use for the Arca Swiss plate that a product is gonna have. And that just leaves me thinking, other Arca Swiss type accessories, like, is the plate I have for my Ulanzi tripod gonna work for those? And that's just very annoying because part of the reason I got this tripod over my old one, which was a Manfrotto one, is that I was getting tired of changing the plate constantly between the tripod and then the PGY-Tech Mantis Pod. If I'm gonna have to do that again, even though the PGY-Tech Mantis Pod and the Ulanzi video tripod have the same plate, but they're just ever so slightly off in terms of sizing, it kind of defeats the part of the reason why I got the Ulanzi tripod. I mean, there's a ton of other reasons to get it, but that was a big one for me. And it's a bit of a bummer that it doesn't totally fit. So I don't know. I wish I didn't bring the PGY Tech Manus pod, because then my microphone wouldn't have been damaged and my S9 wouldn't have fallen on the floor. Yeah, protect your gear. Just double check everything's secure.
Editing MC here. Earlier in the video, I said I would also tell you why I dislike variable aperture zoom lenses. Well, the main reason is when you zoom in with a variable aperture zoom lens, your f-stop increases, and then when you zoom out, it decreases. And for photography, I don't think it's too big of a deal because, well, if you're shooting in RAW, you're probably fine, you have noise reduction and all of that. But when you're shooting video, especially in fast-paced environments, it's just annoying that your exposure is constantly changing whenever you're zooming in. Now, sure, you can work around it if you prepare for your shots and you account for the lower exposure when you zoom in. But when you're out traveling, you're just trying to capture things as they happen. And that's difficult to do when, if you're zooming in, your image gets a lot darker. It means either you have to quickly adjust your ND filter, which sometimes maybe you're already at the lowest end of your ND filter, and having your image get even darker has just ruined your image completely. This happened to me quite a few times. Really, I just dislike that there's something affecting my exposure that is kind of out of my control, and it's hindering me from capturing the kinds of shots I want to capture. That was part of the main reason I wanted to get the 24-60 when we're in Japan. The other part being, of course, it's much cheaper with the tax-free shopping in Japan, at least whilst it's here. But yeah, having a constant aperture zoom lens is such a key thing if you're going to be doing a lot of fast-paced shooting, especially for video. So that's the reason I dislike variable aperture zoom lenses, and thank you for watching this from my iPhone. I appreciate this is a quality difference from the rest of the video, but you rock.
And now to round off this video, let me show you a little bit more of what I captured in Japan, and thank you guys for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.
Thank you.